This is breaking news from RTV6, working for you.
Breaking news right now, and some good news this midday. A 9-year-old boy who had been missing for almost 2 days has been found safe. Just before the broadcast, we heard from Lawrence police that Kamani Bennett was found and he is okay. No other details have been released so far, but again, great news that he was found and is safe today. Taking a turn now to the weather. It is a cold Thursday out there. The snowfall has stopped, but the cold temps remain. Meteorologist Todd Clausen standing by to let us know how long this cold weather is going to last.
Yeah, we still have about 2 more days with temperatures in the 20s and 30s, Meredith, before we finally get some warmth back in the forecast just as we start the new month of March. So it's in the 20s right now in Lafayette as well as Indy at 29, 30s to our south, Bloomington as well as Columbus. We had some sunshine throughout the morning hours, and that helped to melt some of the snow off the roofs of the campus of DePaul University here in Greencastle. But you can see the clouds have now filled back in, and this will kind of be the trend throughout the remainder of the afternoon. Here was the breaks that we enjoyed with the sunshine. So it's probably mostly cloudy for most of us throughout the remainder of the day. And you may see a few flurries from time to time drifting in, but we are not expecting any accumulating snow or any issues on the roadways, which is good news if you're going to be out and about this afternoon. But you are going to have to bundle up with the lack of sunshine and a bit of a north wind. Our temperature is not going to warm much more. About 34 is all we can do this afternoon before temperatures start to fall back down into the 30s pretty quickly this evening once the sun sets, and eventually into the 20s. We'll talk more about that warm up heading our way for the second half of the weekend in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. The road conditions were worse today in northern Indiana than they were for much of our area. Check out this accident that happened near Crown Point. State police say a dump truck hit an overpass on I-65 this morning. It separated the trailer from the truck, leaving the trailer standing upright. The crash forced police to shut down the interstate around midnight, but all lanes were open again around 1 this morning. Again, no injuries reported there, but just an odd sight to see. New this midday, a woman is in the hospital after a shooting on the east side of Indianapolis. Police were called around 8:30 this morning to a home on Jefferson Avenue near Rural Street and Brookside Parkway. Officers found a woman with a gunshot wound and medics took her to the hospital. The woman's condition was not released, but police say she appears to be stable. Investigators have not said anything about a possible suspect. Also new this midday, police in Columbus are investigating after a man was found dead in the parking lot of a business. Columbus police say they were called to Tool Dynamics on South Mar Road late last night. Officers say a man with a gunshot wound was found lying in the parking lot. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Police later found the man's vehicle in a different parking lot on State Street in Columbus. Officers are looking for anyone in the area who may have security camera video. If you think you have information, you can call Columbus Police at 812-376-2600. Less than 2 hours from now, a judge will decide whether a man accused of killing a prominent Indianapolis doctor can drop his guilty plea in the case. Last month, Devin Seats signed a plea agreement admitting to breaking into the home of Dr. Kevin Rogers on the Northwest Side and killing him back in 2017. But this month, Seats told a judge he wanted to change his plea to not guilty and take the case to trial. A hearing on that request is scheduled for 2 o'clock this afternoon. If the case goes to trial and Seats is convicted, he could face stiffer punishment. The Molson Coors Beer Company is calling it the saddest day in the history of the business. Police say an employee of the brewery in Milwaukee opened fire inside the old Miller headquarters, killing 5 co-workers before taking their own life. More than 1,000 people were working at the beer plant Wednesday afternoon when the shooter opened fire. Employees were evacuated along with neighboring schools as police searched more than 20 buildings on the company's campus. One worker says he walked away from the shooter to talk to someone else just moments before the shooter pulled out the gun.
I wouldn't have gone to talk to this guy if it was relieved me. I'd be one of them guys. I know that for a fact because I would have walked right into what was going on.
The name of the shooter has not been released, and police in Milwaukee have also not released a possible motive. Concerns about the coronavirus are growing. There have been no cases in Indiana so far, but some stores are already running out of face masks and other protective gear. The CDC confirms a person in California may be the first in the United States to become infected through what is known as community spread, meaning the source of the exposure is unknown. Reporter Joe Johns tells us from Washington it comes as President Trump now says Vice President Mike Pence is in charge of the nation's response to the illnesses.
President Trump downplaying the threat of coronavirus in the United States.
Because of all we've done, the risk to the American people remains very low.
Despite experts in the CDC warning the threat will only get worse before it gets better.
I don't think it's inevitable. It probably will. It possibly will. It could be at a very small level or it could be at a larger level. Whatever happens, we're totally prepared.
Surrounded by top health officials, President Trump again softening the warnings from those experts.
In just the course of the last couple of minutes, you have disputed some of what the officials that are working in your administration behind you have said about the risk of coronavirus and its spread. Do you trust your health officials to give you good information, or do you trust your own instincts more?
I don't think I have. They've said it could be worse, and I've said it could be worse too. I also think, no, I don't think it's inevitable.
Earlier Wednesday, Health and Human Services Secretary Alex Azar announced a 15th person tested positive for coronavirus in California. And just hours after the rare White House briefing, the CDC said that case could be the first in the U.S. of a patient who had not traveled to the affected areas or had apparently not had exposure to another known patient. The administration has come under fire this week after cabinet officials received a bipartisan grilling on Capitol Hill, arguing they are ill-prepared to combat an outbreak in the U.S. Still, President Trump appeared to claim partial credit for the limited number of confirmed cases in the country.
If you compare it to the response to previous situations like this, it's inadequate. And the most dangerous thing is trying to happy talk a national health emergency because it suits some personal or political goal or because you're worried about the stock market.
The president also announced Vice President Mike Pence will lead the administration's response. The Washington Post, citing 5 sources familiar with the situation, reports Azar was caught off guard by the announcement. Sources tell CNN the president has privately expressed frustration with Azar, blaming him for not keeping him updated enough. It's unclear who's really in charge.
I'm still chairman of the task force.
So you don't feel like you're being replaced?
Not in the least.
Joe Johns reporting from Washington there. This afternoon, the State Department of Health will talk to reporters here in Indianapolis about their efforts to protect you from COVID-19. That is the illness caused by the coronavirus. Now, right now, there are no confirmed cases of the virus in Indiana, but the state says it's it has created an advisory committee and is monitoring travelers in coordination with local health departments. You can watch the state health department's news conference at 1:30 this afternoon at the IndyChannel.com and on the RTV6 Facebook page. The vice president's appointment to lead the coronavirus response is sparking some criticism, and it's because of his response to a health crisis while he was governor of Indiana. In January of 2015, an HIV outbreak tied to drug use overwhelmed several Indiana counties, beginning in Scott County in southern Indiana. Pence was asked to get behind legislation to create an emergency needle exchange program to stem the outbreak, but he refused to do so until March of 2015 when he signed an executive order for a 30-day program limited to Scott County. That program was eventually extended when Dr. Jerome Adams, the then state's health commissioner, declared a public health emergency. Pence later changed his mind about needle exchange programs and signed a law allowing each Indiana county to create one if they had an emergency. New this midday, a new campaign taking aim at the stigma sometimes attached to those trying to end their addiction to opioid. The supporters hope the campaign will give a boost to those fighting substance use disorder, and you'll start seeing the public service announcements very soon. The campaign is called That's What Friends Are For. It's designed to raise awareness that people battling addiction, and the Marion County Public Health Department also wants to encourage more people to carry the overdose drug naloxone everywhere they go.
You are more likely to see someone that requires Narcan to treat someone from a substance overdose than you are providing CPR for someone who has a heart attack.
Indianapolis is one of 4 cities getting a grant to start this type of support program from the National Association of County and City Health Officials. American Heart Month is about to wrap up. Next, we talk to a woman about her scary health situation and the symptoms she wants you to be on the lookout for.
And Meredith, the temperatures are running well below normal for this time of year. We should be climbing into the mid-40s each and every day this time of year, and we're stuck below freezing right now. But the good news is warmer days are ahead. We'll talk all about it coming up in your Storm Team 6 forecast. You're watching the news at noon right here on RTV6.
Oh my God.
ABC's General Hospital.
All this month, we've been sharing stories of survival as part of the American Heart Association's Go Red for Women campaign. Heart disease is the leading cause of death among women in the U.S. And for Jennifer Pace, she noticed something wasn't right with her heart, and she took action just in time. Jennifer had felt what she describes as a flutter in her chest, but during one especially intense episode, she was taken to the emergency room, and her resting heart rate was 210 beats per minute. After trying several medications and visiting a number of cardiologists, she finally found out she had atrial fibrillation, or AFib. That's an irregular heartbeat condition that can lead to blood clots, stroke, and heart failure. The advice she has for others: continue to fight for answers.
Advocate for yourself. Find somebody who will listen to you, because you're the one that lives in your body and you know what's right and what's not.
AFib is not curable but can be slowed down. Pace's doctor performed an AFib ablation to help Jennifer's symptoms. She now says she only experiences a few episodes every month. The phone scammers are back, and this time they claim they're from the government. Next, what to listen for when the phone rings so you don't lose your money. And we are taking a live look right now downtown, view to the west. Hopefully the folks on that flight are headed somewhere nice and warm, because meteorologist Todd Clausen says it's going to be some time before we see temps in the 50s again. We'll let you know when that's happening coming up after the break. You're watching the news at noon on RTV6.
The strength to make a difference.
I'm Ted Rollins. Today on Court TV, it took a jury in Missouri less than 3 hours to find Danny Welty guilty of second-degree murder. And it was a bit of a win of sorts for Welty, who was facing the possibility of first-degree murder and a mandatory life sentence for killing his estranged wife.
As to count 1, we, the jury, find the defendant, Danny C. Welty, guilty of murder in the second degree as submitted in instruction number 7. Signed by the foreperson. As to count 2, we, the jury, find the defendant, Danny C. Welty, guilty of armed criminal action as submitted in instruction number 10. May be seated. Does the either party wish to have the jury polled?
Plus, we'll also have the latest on the extradition of Lori Vallow. A judge in Hawaii refused to reduce her bail yesterday, which is set at $5 million. Vallow now headed to Idaho, where she faces 2 counts of desertion and non-support of dependent children. Her daughter, 17-year-old Tylee, and 7-year-old son Joshua have not been seen since September. We'll preview what's next for Vallow and have reaction to that Welty verdict, plus more legal news throughout the day on Court TV.
And you can learn more about other cases around the nation right now at courttv.com.
Time now for an RTV6 Consumer Alert. Joining me in studio today is Tim Maniscalco with the Better Business Bureau. Tim, today we have a phone scam that folks need to watch out for.
Yeah, this one involves the IRS. And what they're really playing on here is, the IRS has a lot of power and a lot of authority. So if you think you might be in some trouble with the IRS, that's kind of an important thing. And that's really what the scammers are playing off on here. This is a phone scam. They're going to sound very urgent. You owe them some money. You're somehow in trouble. They're going to try to get your Social Security number, and they're going to say that they're going to suspend your Social Security. They're going to do things like make certain that you can't get access to your bank accounts, all these sorts of threats that are out there. They're going to want you to pay with some sort of unusual form of payment. Once again, some sort of gift card or something like that, prepaid debit card. If this does happen to you, please submit this to our scam tracker, but just be very, very aware that this is really on the rise. The IRS has sent out a notice on this, so we've taken this and now tried to get this out to consumers out there. It is something that's on the rise, and you know, once again, if you get a call from the IRS, you better take that seriously, and that's what they're playing off on here. The IRS is not going to call you. Okay. They're going to contact you in a very formal way, typically through a letter, that type of thing. So you're not going to get a phone call. They're not going to ask you to pay in this kind of unusual way. So just be on the lookout for that. Don't be scared.
All right, something to keep in mind. Tim, thank you so much. This has been an RTV6 Consumer Alert.
Lauren, thank you. We're taking a live look right now in Bloomington at the campus of IU. Some cloud cover there. We did see a little bit of sunshine earlier in other spots, but it's not helping things warm up whatsoever, Todd.
You know, a lot of times we get what I call self-destructive sunshine. It pops out, and when you have these cold days, it just kind of fills back in with clouds, and that's exactly what we've had here throughout the morning hours, now into the early afternoon. Let's quickly recap the snow from yesterday. It was kind of a festive snow. It stuck on the grass, it stuck on the trees, didn't really do much damage to the roadways. And as expected, the higher totals were to the north, 4 inches in Peru, Monticello, just under 4 inches. Kokomo at 3, officially at the airport in Indianapolis, 1.2 inches. And that brings this winter's total for 2019 into 2020 to 14.4 inches. That is well below normal for this time of year. And most of that occurred with those back-to-back days in December when we picked up nearly 8 inches. And Meredith was asking earlier, she said, it doesn't seem like we had that much snow, but a lot of our snows here in January and February were rain-snow mixtures, so it would snow and then it would melt away with the rain, so it's been pretty hard to officially measure. There's the sunshine and the breaks in the clouds that we were enjoying, and a few of you still are enjoying the sunshine here to the north, but the clouds are going to win out throughout the afternoon hours. We'll have a few flurries and or a quick snow shower this afternoon without consequence. It's not going to cause any issues on the roadways, so you don't have to worry about that if you have plans later on this evening. But just bank on mostly cloudy skies here and very chilly temperatures. Here is the view from downtown to the north, and you can see the skies trying to brighten in spots, but the clouds are definitely winning out. 29 degrees, and here's our other issue today. The winds are out of the west-northwest at 24 miles per hour, so the winds have picked up. That makes the 20s feel more like the teens across the area. We're at 31 in Bloomington right now. It's only 28 as you make your way up to Lafayette. Temperature's not going to warm much more with that wind and the lack of sunshine. 33 in Lafayette today, 39 in Bloomington, about 33 here in Indianapolis. If you're heading to West Lafayette for the big game this evening as IU takes on Purdue, the roads should be fine. They were a little icy this morning in spots, but this afternoon and into the evening hours, especially the main roads, will be good. Shouldn't worry about that. Don't let that deter you from heading to the game. Just bundle up, starting around 33, ending around 29 as that game lets out. Tomorrow morning with more in the way of snow on the ground, teens to the north, 20 in Indianapolis, 23 in Bloomington for your overnight low. And then throughout the day tomorrow, it's pretty chilly with temperatures that will only be right around freezing. Tomorrow also, I will quickly point out, there will be the chance during the evening commute. So the timing is not good. Some snow showers moving through. I don't think they really do much in the way of putting down accumulation across the area. However, it will reduce visibility in spots, and that would be the biggest issue. If you're not a fan of these colder temperatures, well, you just got to be patient. Look at that. By Sunday, up to 57 degrees, and then in the 50s for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday next week as well with our next storm system. But with temperatures that warm, it'll be just plain old rain.
All right, Todd, thank you. We've got a little bit more coming up here after the commercial break. Stick with us. You're watching the news at noon on RTV6.
Plexadermtrial.com or call the number on your screen.
As Todd mentioned, Purdue takes on IU tonight in West Lafayette. Purdue has lost 4 straight since beating the Hoosiers back on February 8th. Purdue now desperately needs a win if they want to have a hope of making the NCAA tournament. IU is in better shape for the postseason with wins over 2 ranked teams since that Purdue loss. Tip-off is tonight at 7 o'clock, and you will know who won depending on who's in a better mood tomorrow morning between Todd and I.
I'm always in a good mood no matter what. We'll see. All right. Here's your 7-day planning forecast. It's cold the next couple days. A few flurries today. Could be a few snow showers tomorrow afternoon and evening. Saturday, a little bit warmer and sunny at 39, but the big warm-up starts on Sunday, 57, and then near 60 on Monday with showers making their way into the area.
Todd, thank you, and thank you for making RTV6 your choice for news. We hope to see you back here at 5 o'clock. In the meantime, stay warm and have a great afternoon.